Hi, everyone. I'm wondering if you're like me. You hunger for the life that Jesus wants to give you, that He's invited you into. You hunger for everything that He offers, a life of fullness, a life of purpose, a life of His presence, and you just want to be faithful to that. And you look at the rhythms of Jesus and you notice that he just seemed to live in perfect rhythm. He lived in God's presence. He had purpose. He was extremely faithful, but more than that, he was extremely fruitful. But like me, you just sense that something's off. You sense that you're just not in rhythm. The life that he lived is not the life, doesn't even look like the life that you're living. Just feel like something's missing. And I believe most of us don't realize we're out of rhythm until we begin to living symptoms that we just can't explain. As I talk to many different people and as I observe a lot of people around me, and even as I look in the mirror, I find that oftentimes we're exhausted. It just seems like a lot of people are tired these days, and it's more than exhaustion. It almost borders on burnout. Tired of life, tired of relationships, just not able to find the energy that they need to live into all the things that's theirs to live into. Many people are anxious. There seems to be this anxiety permeating our culture, but many people that I am talking to, there's this anxiety, and that anxiety just, I believe, really will keep them disconnected. They feel disconnected from themselves, disconnected from purpose, disconnected from other people, almost a sense of isolation. And so, uh, when all of that is going on, there's exhaustions, there's anxiety, disconnection. You know what? I also find that many people are unfulfilled. There's a sense of emptiness, a sense that life is not as full, that uh, they're not living in the purpose that's theirs to live. And there's a sense of emptiness and unfulfillment. Now, these are often the symptoms, and oftentimes we will focus on these symptoms, but they're not the source. About over a year ago now, I had a stroke, and the symptoms of that stroke was that my face became numb. I have lost some of the taste functionality. Things just don't taste the way they used to. And the doctor could have focused on those symptoms and have managed the symptoms, but instead, we did a lot of different used a lot of different diagnostic tools to identify what was the source, what caused the stroke. And come to find out, my cholesterol was high, and they believed that some capillaries became blocked, and I had this small infarction, this stroke that caused these symptoms. So instead of asking about the symptoms, asking questions like, how do we stop feeling exhausted? Or how do we reduce our anxiety? Or what's keeping me disconnected or unfulfilled? Perhaps there's a better question. And maybe that question is, what is shaping our lives? Because I believe the answer to that question is extremely important in our discovering how to live the life that Jesus is offering us and that he's inviting us into. Contemplating what's shaping my life. What is the source behind my exhaustion, my anxiety, my sense of disconnection, my sense of unfulfillment? So maybe today you need to be asking, what is shaping you? What is shaping you? Are you being shaped by fear? You know, fear is very detrimental to our experience of life. You know, we can be shaped by fear, We can be shaped by the need for approval. We will live our lives in order to get the approval of someone important to us, a wife, a father, a mother. And those people may not even be living anymore. We still live from this overarching need for their applause and that they would approve of us. Maybe you're living for God's approval, or maybe it's just your peers, but you're living for a great desire and need for approval. Or maybe performance is shaping you. And the way performance work, and I used to do this. In fact, I remember a time when I thought working 28 days in a row and doing everything at 150%. And the more I did, and the better I performed, the more people would like me, the more popular I would be, and the more successful I would be. And so performance began to be the thing that drove me. And the thing that drove my performance, believe it or not, was the need for approval. Deep wounds. Oftentimes, these three right here, fear, approval, and performance, the reason why they're shaping us and influencing us and impacting us so much, because they're born out of deep wounds from the past. And those wounds, if they're left untended and unhealed, will cause us to live from these other, some would call dysfunctions, busyness. So many people are just caught up in busyness. And my sense is this: when I find myself getting very busy, and maybe not even doing a lot of important things, but just a lot of things, it usually is a salve. I'm being shaped by busyness because it's a salve for the other things that are shaping my life. But the thing that really should shape us is God's presence, and in that presence, His provision. So, what's shaping you? And is there something shaping your life that you haven't named or identified yet? You say, I believe this. Awareness, revelation, becoming aware of what is shaping us, shapes us, opens the door. Becoming aware of what is shaping us opens the door. It opens the door. And so we need a tool that will help us identify exactly that. What does it open the door to? It opens the door to the life that God has for us. It opens the door to the path that we need to take in order to experience the life, so that we're being shaped by His presence, so we're being shaped by His purpose, so we're being shaped by our faithfulness to all that He's giving us. Now, we need a tool, and I'm thankful that we have begun to develop and are developing and have developed this tool. It's called the Rhythm Audit. And in that audit, I've taken it a few times now, and I'm consistently learning new things about what is shaping me and the things I need to tend to. I've sent it out, and I've had others take it, and they've helped me to adjust some things, make it better, but they've consistently said, it gave me insights that I haven't seen about myself. It's very helpful in understanding the things that are shaping me. That it would be helpful for anyone who's interested in finding out the things that really are influencing them and shaping them and forming them. And so I would encourage you to consider taking advantage of the rhythm audit, and we'll maybe just mention that a little later. But that audit or some instrument, some way, we need revelation as to what is shaping us. But here's the reality: revelation and awareness alone is not enough. It's just the entry point. It's the open door. You see, a door can be open, but unless you enter into that door and into the path that that door leads to, oftentimes you will not find the transformation, the change, the new life that you're hungering for. So transformation begins when we respond to God's invitation to enter into the pathway, to enter into the rhythms, to align our lives with Jesus. And so the rhythm of Jesus pathway is what that is about. It is, first of all, about awareness, becoming aware of what is shaping your life. And after you become aware of that, you begin to see where you are, and that will better help you to understand the pathway you need to travel to get to where you want to go. And so the next step is after we become aware of what is shaping us, we begin to calibrate. In other words, we begin to learn how to align ourselves with the rhythm of Jesus so that his rhythms become our rhythms. His mindsets become our mindset. His rhythm of retreat and advance becomes our rhythm of retreat and advance. In other words, I began to learn how to calibrate when to retreat and when to advance. I began to understand that there are daily retreats, weekly retreats, seasonal, and that seasonal retreat will need to be calibrated. But not only when to retreat, but when to advance, when to move into life. I believe that many of us get stuck in either retreat or advance, and we need to learn how to calibrate that rhythm. And after we calibrate, we learn to not only move into retreat, but to allow that retreat to become impactful. And so we learn to commune, connecting and receiving from God in retreat. That's so important. Many people will retreat, but they're not learning to connect and receive from God. Oftentimes, they're just going to God, and even in that retreat, they're trying to earn something from God, to impress God. But what we learn to do is align ourselves with Jesus and learn from him how to really commune with the Father, connect and receive from the Father in retreat, which prepares us then to collaborate with him as we live life. You see, collaboration is about partnership with God. It's about journeying with him and his journeying with us into life so that we're making the difference in life. We're taking advantage of the opportunities that come our way. We are meeting the challenges that just come with daily life. When we leave the retreat, we begin to engage in life. And what we need to learn to do is this, to connect and receive from God while we're advancing. We don't just live off what we receive in our time of retreat, communing with him. We learn to partner with him in the same way, being faithful to connect and receive from him in our advancing. And so that's a collaboration. There's a partnership. We're faithful to connect and receive and just release what we've been given. You know, I've learned to do that over the years, and when I do it well, it just seems like amazing things happen. Yesterday, Rhonda, while I was actually preparing, this was actually the day before yesterday, while I was preparing these slides and teaching, studying for a real estate exam that I had coming up, I get a phone call from Rhonda, which surprised me because she was here at the house. And I noticed her, she was, looked out the window and she was out on the street and bending over. And she said, Jeff, there's a baby rabbit. What do we do? Long story short, I took a moment of retreat because my first response was this, just let him die. His mother has left him. There's nothing we can do. But she was so anxious and so persistent. But honey, there's something we can do. He's alive. We need to do something. I had so much on my plate. I really didn't really want to take the time to deal with this, but I took a moment. I took a moment of retreat, a small retreat while I'm doing life. And that is what you learn to do, a mini retreat as you're living and as you're going, connected to the Father, listen to the Spirit, and just sensed Him saying, take care of the rabbit, release my passion, release my care, be the compassionate person that I've created you to be. And so went out there, helped her get the little bunny inside. After that, we made some phone calls, found out exactly where I needed to take the little bunny rabbit. And Emily and I, my daughter and I, took him there. They examined him. His heart rate was good. His legs were working. And they said, hey, listen, we'll take care of him. We'll find a place of rehab for him and then release him back into his habitat. You see, that's what partnering with God, connecting and receiving while you're advancing, doing life looks like. The rhythm of Jesus. The rhythm of Jesus is about being aware of what's shaping you. And that can change from season to season. It can change from day to day. But being aware, allowing God to reveal to you what is shaping you in this particular season. Calibrate. It means learning to align yourself with the rhythms of Jesus. And as you live daily, continuously calibrating your rhythm. It means learning to commune, connecting and receiving from God in your time of retreat. It looks like collaborating with God, which means doing your part, which is connecting and receiving from Him as you advance. And then as you do that, you will begin to release into your life what He's providing instead of what you're providing. You see, here's what I've come to believe. Many are striving for what God already wants to give them. I do that all the time. I'll work in order for God to give when He just wants to give. That leads to another thing. It's another way. Many are striving, working to earn what God already wants to give them. There is a better way. Learn to live from, not for. Learning to live from God's love, not for it. Learning to live from God's presence, not for it. Living to learn from God's favor and delight in you and not for it. Here's what I want you to hold on today. If nothing else, hold on to those two realities that you can learn to live from. You already have God's love. You already, believe it or not, if you're in Jesus, you have His favor. You have His blessings. You can learn to live from, not for. And here's what you'll discover. Real life is found at the intersection of your need and God's grace. I've always found that to be true, and I've gone through a lot. And every challenge I face, whether it's the loss of a father, the loss of a wife, whether it is people gossiping about me, whether it's a stroke a year ago, what I have found is this. Life is found at the intersection of my need and God's grace. You see, my God loves me, and He's wanting to provide everything that I need. My job is simply learning how to align myself with the rhythm of Jesus so that I am able to, in communion and collaboration, simply connect with Him, receive from Him, and live from what He's giving so I can express and be an expression of and release His love in the world. Man, that's an amazing way to live, and it brings so much joy and peace and fruitfulness to our life. Maybe that's exactly what Jesus meant when He said, abide in me and I in you, and you will bear. Know how. much fruit. So maybe, just maybe, what we are to be faithful to is the abiding, connecting, and receiving. And maybe, just maybe, God's job is the fruit. There is a better way. Maybe your next step, and I'm going to invite you to join us for the rhythm audit workshop coming up in July. Send me a message, email me, comment on this that you want that, and I'll send you the Zoom link. But that workshop is going to be posted on YouTube and also on Facebook, so you can get it there. But I still want you to message me so I can send you that audit and you can take it just so you can start that journey of becoming aware of what is shaping you. And maybe, just maybe, that will mean, as we begin to teach on calibration, communion, and collaboration, as we begin to offer cohorts, that you will begin to naturally take the journey that God has for you in order for you to know the life that He desires for you. I hope you have a blessed day, and that this teaching is something that will be the impetus and will be the starting point for amazing journey for the rest of your life. God bless.